Hey gang, it's Ryan with the Chapel at Cross Point. I hope and pray that everybody's doing well. Happy Good Friday to everybody who watches this. I wanted to take a moment because it has been brought to my attention by a handful of people that they had thought, hey, I really feel like you should communicate to more of a broader audience about one of the things that I've been doing recently within Renovation Network. For lack of a better expression, I have begun to help a lot of churches, at least I would say in the last 6 to 8 months, maybe even a little bit longer. A number of churches within the network had me out to ask the question of how to take things like the thresholds and the outcomes, for those of you familiar with the renovation material, and the missional behaviors. How do we take those ideas and run them through perhaps a grid of thought? And so I had been doing this for the last handful of months. Most recently, I had spent a good bit of time with John Blue out at Pacific Point in Southern California walking through this. But in essence, I wanted to let you know that if this strikes a chord with you and you have the interest, that I'm actively looking to help in any way, shape, or form that I can to walk you through certain things. And so we are practicing this in our Thursday morning time with our senior leadership team on a weekly basis now, where we go through the renovation line of thinking, taking an idea, and essentially what we are responsible for doing is we go through an idea and we write down all of the things that we feel are outcomes or thresholds or benchmarks of what we would like to see. And so as a church, we know that there are some benchmarks that we hope to see have been mentioned in the renovation material. So Dwight will talk about, hey, interdependency of leadership, geographic specificity, and greater body church partnership. Okay, so greater body partnership. So we would call these thresholds, Dwight calls them. And in addition to that, he also mentions something that is indicative of spiritual formation. That's the fourth thing that he mentions. And on the formation side of the house, we know that in the renovation material that there are focuses on the intimacy with God, Christ-like relationships, discovering our gifting, knowing our grace story, and exercising a stewardship of life in and throughout all of that. And so we have actually listed each block of these outcomes together around a concept, and then finally we know that there are missional behavior indicators that we look for in the spiritual formation survey. So we look at, when we talk about the evangelization of a demography, we talk about presence, which is intentional relationship building with people that we know don't know Jesus. We talk about proclamation, which is the ability to share our story if and when God allows for that to happen. That allows us to then saturate, which is the third thing that we look for in terms of missional indicators. Saturation, which is giving every man, woman, and child repeated opportunities to hear, see, and respond to the gospel. And then finally, we hope to see conversion. And so as I had walked our senior staff through this not too long ago, and going through this with people at Pacific Point, but then also a handful of other churches recently, there has been a desire by these churches for me to let other churches know, hey, this has been a helpful exercise for us to press these ideas down at a greater level. And so I just wanted to let you know, if this resonates, if you have literally anything from discipleship as a concept, or maybe it's telescoping, or a missions trip, or a prayer event, you literally can take this grid and take an idea and run it through each portion of these grids. And that's something that we're developing as a rhythm here at the chapel. We definitely have done that with our budgets, for different departments of ministry. But it's more than just that. This practical whiteboard application, as you begin to do this with churches, it really begins to give the ideas that Dwight are talking about, just the tangible, let's get our hands on this idea. And so I don't know that if it is of benefit for any churches out there other than the ones I've been helping. I think that it might be. And who knows, if if this has been on your heart and you've just not known how to press these ideas down at a greater level, maybe this is something that might help you in that process. By no means am I claiming to know how to do this with every single situation. But what I have seen is, as we do this, if these are the indicators of what we want to see internally and externally as it relates to our geography, behaviors that we want to see, patterns that we want to see, then let's hold ourselves accountable to these as we try to create new ideas. And so if that's helpful for you, great. If you'd like to learn more, obviously you can hit me up here on the city, or you can email me at rkozey@thechapel.com. God bless you, gang. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you soon.